welcome to KoshienCast, the weekly sports anime fan podcast. My name is Matt Ely, and joining me today is a very special guest, Matt Knodel.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, so you have a last name.
I do. I'm rather surprised by this.
Yeah, I do too. After 9 months of doing this, we decided that our hilarious joke of both being named Matt and being thereby indistinguishable wasn't that funny. Like, it was funny for a solid 9 months, but maybe not permanently.
Right. Well, it's also funny because that caught me by surprise because I actually forgot that we discussed we were doing that this episode. So, yeah. Always a surprise recording this sometimes.
It's always a surprise sometimes. That's the kind of quality you come here for. So anyway, this is the summer preview episode. We're going to be going through the 4 new series that we will be covering related to sports in the summer season. So before we get into those, we have a couple housekeeping and side issues that we want to bring up, that we like to bring up after each season. And the first thing is to thank everyone who's been listening. It's been kind of a weird season because we only had 2 currently airing shows. And so we sort of inserted a couple archive shows with Encouragement to Climb and Big Windup. But we've actually seen our audience grow a bit in that time, which has been encouraging. It's been encouraging of Climb, is what I say.
Okay, sorry about that. What was most interesting to us, though, is that we've had, like, a lot of that growth has come from, apparently, in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like we can see where people are living exactly that they download, but we do see it by country where we're getting downloads. And the proportion has definitely skewed a lot more towards Japan in the last few months, which has been interesting and unexpected. But so I just wanted to say, we wanted to say that if you are listening in Japan, shoot us an email, KoshienCast@gmail.com. It's the name of the podcast at Gmail. Let us know why.
Yeah, kind of. We kind of want to know. It's like, so what's going on over there?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are people suddenly discovering us over there?
Right.
My theory was that because it's the summer baseball season, a lot of people are googling
Koshien,
like, their podcast services for Koshien, and since we are the only thing that pops up for that, we thought maybe it's and there's a lot of crossover appeal with in Japan with the baseball scene over there and with sports anime. Maybe. But
again, we don't know, and we'd like to have our theories confirmed or denied. And more than anything, we'd just like to hear from people. So even if you don't live in Japan, shoot us a note.
Yeah, absolutely.
KoshienCast@gmail.com, or contact us on our Facebook or Twitter. So along those lines, we're introducing a new segment this week that we're going to try for a while, see how it goes, called the KoshienCast Question of the Week. And the basic concept is that we'll ask a question and then we'll answer it. So for this first one, I am going to ask Matt a question, and then but if anyone in the audience wants to submit a question for the question of the week, you can email it to us or contact us on social media, and we'll ask, we have the right to not answer, but we'll ask your question. So, Matt, the first ever KoshienCast question of the week is, if you had to choose a husbando from one of the sports series that we have covered on KoshienCast, not just any sports series, but one of our sports series, which would you choose?
I think I'm gonna have to go with the star player of Ryuan Academy. Oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like much of a husbando if you don't even know his name.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
I agree with the concept because he's great, but I also don't remember his name.
But so maybe that's not really husbando material. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna change my answer here. I am gonna... So, I have always had a bit of a man crush on, oh my god, I forgot his name too. Never mind.
Well, just describe it. We'll look it up.
It is, from Haikyuu. I want to... Azumane? I want to say his
Azumane.
name? Yeah, okay, cool. I did remember his name. Fantastic. I have always had a bit of a soft spot for Azumane from Haikyuu. Mm-hmm. Just because, I don't know, I've always felt a weird kinship from him for being a giant guy, but also kind of, like, never really quite believing in himself, I guess. You know, I find that very endearing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the fact that he works up the courage and still puts in the time as the ace, you know, that's always spoken for me. Or spoken to me. I would also... maybe I'd also go Nishinoya as well. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, I know it was just towards one of us, but
we can both answer. I think that there's only one acceptable answer.
Yeah, I know what's coming now, actually. I don't know why I thought anything else.
Yeah, it's Ibumi from All Out.
Oh! Okay.
No, I don't know. What were you thinking?
I was thinking JJ from Yuri on Ice.
Oh my gosh, of course it's JJ. Of course it's JJ, the greatest character. Yeah, you're right. I asked the question, but I fully failed to prepare for it. I like Ibumi. But yeah,
no,
JJ is the king.
He is. He writes a song about how he's the king. He looks in the mirror and he sees a king.
He deserves it.
He does.
So yeah, if you want to ask us the question of the week, or just let us know. So in other news, before we get into it, we have a few series reviews coming out over the next few weeks.
Right.
We'll be doing our series review for Yawapeda Season 3, aka New Generation.
Right.
We'll do our series review for Tiger Mask W
Finally.
after 9 months. And we'll do a series review for Kuroko's Basketball, which we haven't covered on the show, but Matt and I have watched separately, and we're just going to do a standalone episode about it.
Right. No, you know, because I was watching it that actually all throughout these past few seasons, just trying to get caught up on it, and I recently finally finished, so kind of looking to having that monkey off my back. Same with Tiger Mask, for that matter.
Yeah, that's true. A couple of monkeys. So another traditional question we ask on this episode is that, so other than sports anime, what have you been watching and enjoying over the last 3 months?
Well, I think I know what the big one for both of us has been. We have both really been into My Hero Academia, the new season. I recently watched the first season. I think actually last season I just sort of sat down and watched it for a little while.
I told you to.
Right. No, I remember.
Yeah,
and you were like,
because I watched it basically in 2 sittings, since I knew the new one was coming out, and I wanted to get caught up, and then I told you that it was not optional for you to watch it.
Well, no, and I'm grateful you did that, because that has become kind of my recent, like, favorite series. I think it's probably the favorite thing I've been watching this past season. I know it's I think my only complaint with it is that I think that they crib a lot of the major plot points almost directly from Naruto. Just with the whole, like, for example, their first mission is it's supposed to just be like a small training mission that ends up becoming a much bigger, ends up becoming a much bigger ordeal than originally thought. Right. Ends up tying into the main plot overall. The second story is about almost, not really their graduation exam, but kind of their big exam where they kind of get to show off how they've progressed, and how that's sort of starting to go wrong. There's some conflict there with the main friend of the main character and his brother. So it's like, I'm not thrilled about how a lot of that is taken from Naruto. At the same hand, it's way better than Naruto ever was. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to be controversial.
And it's more concise.
It's more concise, a lot more interesting. The characters are so much more likable.
Yeah.
They are so much more entertaining. And I kind of like the bait and switch with certain characters. I don't want to get too far into it, but there's a character established early on who you think would be the Sasuke type character, and they kind of switch it around. Mm-hmm. They've kind of switched that around this most recent season. And so that's been really fun to watch as well. And I think just generally it has a great... it's got a lot of aplomb, I guess. I don't know if you can describe that better.
No, that works, yeah.
Okay, yeah, just kind of like... It's like, it's a shonen battle series, so, it's kind of...
Yeah, but it's really joyful,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's largely enhanced by that soundtrack, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, has there been anything else you've been watching recently?
I have failed to keep up with, but intend to catch up on Sakura Quest.
Oh, okay.
Which I've actually been watching the simul dub, because I don't know, I like the dub on that one, and it's the kind of show that I will watch more as like for relaxation, and it's if I'm watching less for the ostensible high action of My Hero Academia, I actually enjoy the subtitles, but just to chill out, I like the dub on Sakura Quest. So I've been watching that on Funimation. But again, I'm not caught up through the end, but it's continuing into summer, so I need to get caught up.
That's fair. I didn't even know you were watching that.
Huh. Yeah, well, I don't tell you everything.
Well, okay, fair enough.
And you all also watched Attack on Titan, right?
Yeah, I watched the new season of Attack on Titan. And it was good. I actually think I like the series a little better than I did before with this season. Yeah. One of the things I came to the realization of watching this season was that Attack on Titan is almost defiantly a popular series. Like, it's kind of got the production values and the sort of like overly dramatic style that you'd kind of expect out of like, this... the way I've always heard it described is like a Gar series, the sort of series that you kind of watch to kind of like get your blood flowing. Uh-huh. Kind of like, yeah, take down the power, it's kind of like almost a wish fulfillment series, except it's also sort of actively defiant of that. It's almost like, it feels like it almost like became that on accident. Just with the way that the plot has been progressing, and the, there was a very major twist in the series that completely reshapes how you look at the series, and it was dropped in such a nonchalant, bizarre way that I don't think I have ever seen before in anything else. And all I'm sitting there thinking is like, this is actually like a mainstream series, and I can't believe that they're getting away with this. Mm-hmm. And I mean that as praise.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I've ended up watching, that at least anything to like any significant amount, was I watched the Waru Salesman reboot that they did, which I only got...
Yeah, you dropped it, didn't you?
Yeah, I ended up... I watched it enough that I feel like I should mention I watched it, but that series has, I think, one of the... I would say is easily, I think, one of the best... has, like, one of the best opening themes of the year. Just the style and mood that it conveys for the series, and in addition to, like, the animation there. Oh, it's wonderful. But I think it also sets something up for the series, sort of, it kind of sets a standard for the series that it doesn't really live up to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so other than anime, I guess, things in the vein of anime, most of my focus with what free time I've had has been on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because I got a Switch. I mentioned that before, but I still have the Switch, and Zelda is still amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I also got a Switch recently. I did not get Zelda, though, because I already had it for the Wii U. But yeah, I think that's been mainly what we've been playing a lot of Zelda. I've been over the season, Persona 5 came out, which was something I have been waiting for over 9 years now, because I was one of those people who got Persona 4 at launch and was just waiting out every day for them to finally announce it, and it is finally out, and I am mostly impressed with it.
Hey, how's that? Look at that. We're a video game review podcast now.
Oh,
no, back off. No one needs more of those. So, just want to make a brief note before we dive in. We're going to continue covering Big Wind-Up and Encouragement of Climb in the new season. We only have a few weeks left of Encouragement of Climb.
Right.
So it won't actually last through all of summer. We'll just keep doing 2 episodes per week and finish out Encouragement to Climb about partway through the summer season.
Right.
But then Big Wind-Up, we'll keep doing 1 episode a week, and it'll continue through summer and fall.
Right.
Did you have any expectations for what those shows are going to be? I know we've watched the first season of Big Wind-Up before, but what do you think the rest of those shows are going to be like? Because I know we've forgotten most of Big Wind-Up.
Well, because if I recall, this next season, what I mainly remember about this next season is that it is almost entirely a single game. It's the game that they set up at the beginning of this past season, or at the first half of this past season. Yeah. And so I know that's at least what to expect. But I have absolutely no idea what they're going to do for the second season. So I'm almost kind of looking forward to getting through the summer just so that we can get to the fall and finally watch the second season of Big Wind-Up, which for some reason we put off for years watching.
Well, it only came out recently in the U.S.
Right. I guess that is fair.
It came out last year in the U.S., and by the time it came out, we were already starting KoshienCast, or we were about to start KoshienCast, and we just decided we wanted to do it on the show.
That's fair.
So that's why.
I guess.
What about Encouragement to Climb?
I mean, I think I'm fine with it. I've kind of gone up and down for the series. Not extremely. I've been kind of oh, that's actually kind of interesting to kind of... I mean, it's fine. I'm not offended by it.
Yeah, I think we may look back, and the Mount Fuji arc may be the real high point. I mean, literally, but also in terms of plot.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I don't regret watching it or anything like that.
It's perfectly pleasant.
It's a perfectly fine series, but it's also not one I think there was a brief moment in there where I was actually looking forward to it pretty well, and these days I'm kind of
yeah. I don't know. I hope to be surprised.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, I would like to shift our focus onto the summer season, and so we've got 4 new shows. Do you want to kick it off with the first one, Matt?
Yes, please. So our first one is Cleanliness Boy Aoyama-kun. So this is actually a Shonen Jump series that's been adapted to. They're adapting it into an anime. So when I first heard that, it's oh, this is going to be interesting. Are we getting another Shonen Battle series? Not really quite sure that's the case. So the entire premise of the show is that there's this guy named, as stated by the title, Aoyama. He is a talented soccer prodigy, but he does not tackle. But he won't get himself dirty playing soccer. Right. So he won't tackle. He doesn't head the ball or anything like that. He can only throw the ball in if he's wearing gloves. So therein lies sort of the conflict, I guess, is that he's this sort of obsessive compulsive guy, but he's very good at a very dirty sport. Right. So what are your expectations for this show, Matt?
My expectations is that hilarity will ensue. I have a feeling this is not going to be the most big budget show,
right?
But it's going to get by on gags, and as we get through the season, increasingly repetitive gags,
right?
Based on a couple of archetype characters. I mean, I was pretty turned off when I noticed that they have a female character who plays the manager, which is fine and expected. She's very shy, but she also carries around a wooden bat with nails in it everywhere, and that's just her cute token item. Oh, she's so shy and cute, but also she has a baseball bat with nails in it at all times. And I'm sort of okay. That's not a real person. So,
I remember when we were talking about this show before, I think you summed it up best, is that this looks like it's trying to be this year's Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto?
Yeah.
Which was
partly by the character design of the main character. He looks a lot like him.
Oh, there's that too, but also kind of in the way it's going to try and present the comedy as being this sort of, they're going to try and play it somewhat straight, but it's still, but the gag comes from how extreme the situation is and how normal everybody is playing it off.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, that was like, if I recall, Sakamoto was like big for one. It was kind of one of those one episode wonder series where everybody was talking about like that first episode.
Yeah.
And then I feel like
it kind of trailed off. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of trailed off because it was one of those shows that had like one really funny gag, and they just kind of kept doing it.
Yeah. It also didn't have much of a budget, which hurt it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have some hopes. I'm kind of hoping that there will be something of a more interesting story in there. I don't have a lot of hopes, though. But it's an interesting premise.
That was a great sentence, man. I have some hopes there will be an interesting story, but I don't have a lot of hope. So, do you have some? Do you have a lot? Do you have none?
I have some, but minimal.
Okay.
But there's some in there.
So you're on the low end of some.
Yes, that is correct.
So I'm just going to move on.
Please.
The second show we're going to be doing is, and this is the title, is 703X Fastest Finger First.
Right.
It remains to be seen exactly how that'll be presented, whether they'll put the 703X at the end or if they'll just call it Fastest Finger First. The 703X refers to 7 correct, 3 incorrect, because this show is about a quiz club.
Right.
So the main character is, I'm not sure if it's junior high or high school, I'm assuming it's high school, is a book-loving boy who joins the quiz club because a girl who's experienced with quiz club urges him to join their team. And so it's his adventures, presumably, of learning how to do a competitive quiz team, and like all the other people with their special quiz abilities. And so if I'm being honest, I am really looking forward to this, just because I one of my favorite kinds of sports anime are ones that adapt something that's never been tried before. Right. And as far as I know, they haven't had like competitive academic quiz anime before, and still it appears to be using the sort of sports shonen tropes.
Right. So I literally don't know anything about this series.
I know very little, but
yeah, they haven't done a whole lot to advertise it. I feel like it's kind of gotten lost. In like a lot of it. I think you had even mentioned on Anime News Network, it wasn't even like mentioned as like a series. Like they had like a poll for like the
most anticipated,
and it like nobody even gave it a vote.
Yeah,
it may have not even been on the selection.
I don't think it was even available as a selection.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of hopes for it. Or I don't really know. It's not so much I don't have a lot of hopes. It's that I literally know nothing about it. It's pretty much the dark horse for me this season. It could be really good, but I haven't even seen any like art for it, to be honest. I everything I know about it is literally you being like, Matt, there's a Quiz Bowl series. We have to cover this on KoshienCast, and
we will. But you know what else we have to cover is Dive.
Right. We have to cover Dive. Right. Dang it! You beat me to it. Okay, so the entire premise of the show is that there is going to be there's a diving club that's having issues with its funds. The new coach has managed to keep the club going by promising the parents of everybody in the club that they could keep it open just so long as they can make it to the Olympics. Or at least one of its members to as the Japanese representative for the diving team.
Well, there's more than one representative, but they just need to get on the team.
But they need one member to join the team.
Right.
So based on the animation I've seen, this looks to be like free.
Well, it's hard to avoid the comparison when it's diving versus swimming, like everyone's going to make that connection.
Right. I mean, and you have a lot of very well-toned boys
wearing Speedos, yeah.
And, kind of contorting themselves.
Uh-huh.
So, it's going to be kind of a hard one. The only reason there are two reasons I'm going to say I have some expectations for this, beyond just being a free clone.
Okay.
One, we did get kind of blindsided by Yuri on Ice last year, because we both thought that was just going to be straight up Yuri on Ice, and it was a lot more than that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because coming into Yuri on Ice, when we did this episode for the preview, we were like, oh, Yuri on Ice, it's just free but ice skating. It's just a bunch of cute boys who are going to do a sport and be cute. Nope.
Nope. It actually turned out to be a fantastic series.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So I kind of got burned on the free comparisons.
Right. The other reason is that isn't this being done by Noitama?
Yeah.
So, and they are generally they do a lot more like art house series, a lot more like adaptations of not just like light novels, but of like actual Japanese literature. And from what I understand,
they did Battery.
Yeah, they did Battery last year, which it has its issues, but I thought overall it was an interesting series.
It was definitely not your typical sports shonen, that's for sure.
Exactly. So that is the other reason I have at least some expectations for this, is because I do generally trust Noitama, and I know I'm butchering the pronunciation there. I'm just going with what I can actually pronounce. So, but I do. It's animation backwards.
Yeah. Well, all of our Japanese fans are hurt by the poor pronunciation. But they will not be hurt by the upcoming Welcome to the Ballroom anime. This is probably, and on Anime News Network, it was voted as the most highly anticipated series of the season. Of course, that immediately made everyone freak out when they found out that it's only going to be on Anime Strike in North America, which is the Amazon streaming service, which I guess I'm getting now. Because both Welcome to the Ballroom and Dive are only going to be on Anime Strike. So anyway, that's all about us.
Well, yeah.
So Welcome to the Ballroom. It looks like it's got kind of a traditional shonen setup where the main character is just sort of looking for something he can be good at. You know, he's looking for a passion. He doesn't really care about anything, but he eventually ends up discovering a professional ballroom dancing. And so once he gets roped in, he realizes it's his passion, and he starts the journey towards being a national level ballroom dancer.
Right.
I think I have the highest expectations for this one too. I'm going right along with the crowd. The PV looked really cool. The animation looks exciting, especially for the dance sequences. I don't know. Like I said before with the old Standby 703X, I like sports series that tackle atypical subject material.
Right. And I was actually just going to bring that up too. You know, it's like I think when we both, as soon as this was announced, because I think this was announced like at the beginning of the year. It was announced
a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, and we were both like, we are holding out until summer for KoshienCast just so that we can cover Welcome to Ballroom. Mm-hmm. Like, even if it turns out to be garbage, this is the exact sort of series. Honestly, this is the exact sort of season we started KoshienCast for.
Yeah, it's really all over the place.
Yeah, it's like we've got, like, even if, like, for example, Cleanliness Boy turns out to not be all that, like, great, it's still an interesting premise. Like, like, we don't see, like, diving series. We don't see Quiz Bowl series. We don't see ballroom dancing series. So, you know, this is... And honestly, like, Welcome to Ballroom, out of all of those, like, it's definitely the strongest looking one. Mm-hmm. If only just because... This is done by Production IG.
Yeah, exactly.
They did Haikyuu as well, and you know they do a phenomenal job with Haikyuu, and this looks to be exactly along those lines. Not only that, it's probably got a lot of buzz going on it because well animated sports shonen are again kind of big thing right now, thanks to Yuri on Ice and Haikyuu. Mm-hmm. So you know this has a lot of high expectations rating on it, and I'm really really hopeful for it.
Me too. So I have to say, Matt, I'm looking forward to doing another season with you. This will be our 4th full season. Hard to believe, but
I know, right? Like after the season, we have done this for exactly 1 year.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, and not only that, I'm excited to finally have a season without Tiger Mask.
Oh my gosh, I know. This will be literally the first season we've covered without having to talk about Tiger Mask every week. Remember that one awesome week when Tiger Mask didn't air?
And we were both really excited about it?
Yeah, that was good times. But yeah, no, now it won't ever air again until the Spring Tiger sequel. But anyway, I don't need to pollute this positive podcast with thoughts about Tiger Mask. So I think we can end it here. Thank you for your time, and we will see you all next season.
Later!
Our logo design is by James Ratcliffe. The theme music is Fly High by Burnout Syndromes, covered and performed by Luke Bartka. You can follow KoshienCast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and our email is koshienCast@gmail.com. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll be back next week with the best and worst from the world of sports anime, and until then, keep training.